Travis Wayne gets home. The scriptures are full of science, astronomy, agriculture, called agronomy, as well as referring to historical persons and events, not necessarily being historical in and of themselves. Archaeological information, anthropological information. Even the process by obtaining truth is through the scientific process. It's all written by Jews. None of it is Christian documents. They stole them, turned them Christian. That is Christianity. Christianity is a fraud. Joseph Smith calls it all wrong, abominable, and corrupt in his first vision. And so it makes no sense for Mormons to call Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon Christian when they've got the documented information from Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon above and beyond the Bible, saying that we're all Jewish. Denialism is the worst form of human behavior. Having become the anthropologist of the ancient Middle East, I know how to use science to identify the truth. I had well confirmed that the Bible teachings, the Book of Mormon teachings, Joseph Smith's teachings using science, are true. They should be trusted in. On the 4th of November 2016, Fox 13 News Utah announced the coming of the total solar eclipse over the whole United States of America on the 21st of August 2017. Eyes bulged out wide, mouth gaped open, jaw dropped, tongue fell out, started drooling. I knew exactly what it meant. The fall of the United States of America. And so, using my science education, experience, degrees, publications, I began searching the scriptures for signs in the heavens to see what else there is out there. Not just going over the sign on the 21st of August 2017 to see that it's going to be at the star Regulus, King Star, in Leo the Lion. And so, being an anthropologist, the anthropologist of the ancient Middle East, more connections were being made as I make my discoveries. Knowing full well that Revelation chapter 12 contains astronomy science dates, I began to look. So I used as my starting point the 21st of August 2017 and went forward in time with my Urim and Thummim. And on the 23rd of September 2017, Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 and 2 appeared. I saw it. I knew I saw it. I had gotten confirmation. The date of the 23rd of September 2017 is Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. I ran the test just in case. Didn't need to, because this is a one and only one date. Will never exist before. Will never exist again. Only one date. And I find it amazing that despite referring to my #1 video on this channel, that nobody is going to check it out to see how at the beginning in that July video 2017 how I am the rightful head of the church, that because this church claims to be the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they therefore, denying science, denying the scriptures, creating a new interpretation, not just taking scriptures out of context at their conference talks, they're false. It's a simple test to run. They cannot be true because they don't claim to be Jewish. That's the first one. If you're using Christianity, you're wrong automatically. And you can't be a denialist, otherwise you become the enemy. I would keep going on to verse 3. There appeared another wonder in heaven. Kept going forward in time. 17th of December 2017, the 5th dark day of Hanukkah. These dates also correspond with Jewish calendars. Went on to verse 4. His tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. Quadranted meteor showers on the 2nd of January 2018. Oh, Monson died. Interesting. It was his birthday for the 21st of August 2017. So it's not just the fall of the United States of America, but the fall of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ. Stealing the scriptures, just like Constantine stole the scriptures and turned them Christian, i.e. literal history. And thus put them in chronological order. Now, the Book of Mormon is written as if it is a narrative of literal history in chronological order. But as I've been going over with you, when you see a passage where they talk about dwelling in a tent, that's the end of the story. And then another one, completely separate and independent, begins. And they just happen to be using the same character names, even though they may differ in their roles and responsibilities in the different story. And so I would identify this with Bible stories as well. Genesis, it seems like it's all one narrative of chronological, literal history. Nope. They're all a bunch of separate stories combined together into a narrative, claiming to be literal history, claiming to be a chronological order. It is not. Knowing that the learning of the Jews is to look at the signs in the heavens in the future, and then telling a story behind it, and thus the prophecies for the dates given, I knew that 1 and 2 in Revelation is the Christ. The coming of the Christ and the start of the latter days. I would independently find the sign of the birth. In the Book of Mormon, there's a star concerning his birth. In Matthew chapter 2, wise men say, "We have seen his star in the east, and we are come to worship him." Knowing that the Christ is supposed to start his ministry 2017, and knowing from the Book of Mormon that Jesus will come 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem, I knew that was 4 CE. So I looked in 4 CE for a sign in the heavens. And the sign of the Christ would be a solar eclipse. Emmanuel. I knew this. Amun is the ancient Egyptian sun god at noonday, transliterated into Paleo-Hebrew. Amun El. And so I found on the 8th of April, 4 CE, because it was a pretty quick one. Where do you think I started my test from? April 6th. Nothing on April 6th. Oh, but wait, we're about to have a potential for a solar eclipse. Ran the test. Sure enough, there it was, over Russia. And so from Jerusalem, it was a partial eclipse. A devil's horns, so to speak, in the constellation of Aries. And then I went, wait a minute, Mercury is there in Aries with a sacrifice of the Christ. Kingdom, King, Christ. That's Abraham sacrificing Isaac. And here it is in the Book of Mormon. Not only 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem, but also Abraham sacrificing Isaac in the Book of Mormon. There it is, 8 April 2024. Or, 200 years later. 2020 years later. The end of the latter days. And then the third day of darkness I found on the 14th of October 2023. And I put them on the United States map. Others had already done the pictures for me, but not making the connections to the scriptures. They knew the science. They reported the science. They did the pictures for science. Knowing the connections from scriptures, I was able to obtain those pictures and add the scriptures to them for you in pictures. they formed the Paleo-Hebrew letters of the first and last letters of the alphabet. Well, no duh. I am the first and the last, Alpha and Omega, the author and finisher. No duh. They're telling you the dates of the latter days, from the beginning to the end. They're telling you in the word sign in Hebrew. Isaiah, I give unto you a sign. A virgin shall conceive and bear a son, shall call his name Emmanuel. The start and finish of the latter days. With the solar eclipses casting their shadow on the location on earth where these events are to take place. And it's not Jerusalem. It's over the United States of America. All because Fox 13 News Utah reported on the 4th of November 2016 of the coming of the solar eclipse over the United States of America on the 21st of August 2017. Putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. And being still to this day the only person who is reporting on this for you. Mormons have exclusive information from me about how true the scriptures are, even the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith. Because this, from Revelation 12, is right there at the beginning of the Book of Mormon. The start of the latter days is in the beginning of the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon is exclusively for Mormons who join Joseph's church. And the starting date is 23rd September 2017. And so the 2020 years is the Exodus year, when all the events of the Exodus happened that year. It's already come and gone. It's all happened. Confirmed. It's factual. Denialism does not threaten me to deny the truth, even though numerous Mormons have tried to do so. They are established facts. 2020 happened. The events of 2020 happened. You can't deny that. It will not work on me. I'm the one who ran the test, produced the results, confirmed the truth. And they happened. Beyond my expectations. Because I expected the parting of the waters to be some kind of symbolic prophetic thing. I didn't realize I was going to do it for real. And so yes, I had known I'm the guy. And so when I read from the Book of Mormon and from Joseph Smith that the guy is a Mormon, and here I am fulfilling all of the scripture prophecies and revelations, I ran the test to see if I can find who he is. And I found who he is. Oh, crap. I didn't choose to be it. You know, I didn't tell my parents as a baby popped out of the womb that I must be called Travis Wayne Goodsell. It was my dad. Came to my mom and said, "Which name do you want your son to be called?" Vincent, Quentin, or Travis. Because they already had been teasing about names they did not want to call me. And my mom said she did not want me to be called Vincent or Quentin. Thus my dad was giving her an ultimatum. He named me. And so my middle name is his first name. So my name is the same as my dad's name, not just the last name. So sure enough, 2 Nephi chapter 3, Joseph Smith is the Christ, Messiah ben Joseph, who prepares the way for the Mormon who would be the guy. And his name is the same as his father's, just in a different way. They only had two names, the surname and the first name. I have three. And Wayne is from Wagoneer. That's the sun god going through the sky in his wagon. Goodsell comes from the British Druids, which came from the Amun priesthood of Egypt. God, good, soul, cell. The phonetics got altered. And it was those British Druids who gave the prophecy about St. Patrick, which was actually about me, because there were no snakes in Ireland. And yet, serpents, snakes, for my coming. 2 Mormons in Utah. And so this is why when I read Matthew chapter 2, I see exactly what this is saying. This is the 23rd of September 2017, starting my ministry in Utah. Now when the Messiah ben David, which that's the name for Isaiah, it's just switched around. That's why he does not mention Isaiah by name when he quotes Isaiah for this date, the 23rd of September 2017. Because these are the prophecies of Isaiah. And so he uses as his character name for me, Jesus, Isaiah. The prophecies of Isaiah. Constantly he is saying, thus saith the prophet, Isaiah. And here's Jesus playing the role of the character of the prophecies of me. This is all about me. I ran the test. Confirmed. And so yes, born in Bethlehem. That's the star Spica in Virgo at the womb. It's also the Egyptian city, Waset, Karnak, Thebes, where Amun was born. All has to do about the same information. They're seeing the signs in the heavens in the future. They're writing down scripture as prophecy of me. Confirmed. No other interpretation, especially not Christian, of Judea, Judah, phonetically the same as Utah. Here I was on the 23rd of September 2017 in Utah, starting my ministry with my website, 2 Mormons, connecting it to YouTube, this channel. I'd already been doing videos preparing Mormons for my coming. And here I am, and still to this day, The July video is my #1 video, because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints prophets panicked just like Herod did. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all of his apostles together, he demanded of them, "What's going on?" I already gave him the date. And they said unto him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet." We just read it. Matthew chapter 1, Isaiah. "A virgin shall conceive and bear a son, with a sign, the 3 days of darkness," the first and the last letter of the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet, formed over the United States of America, the cross of Jesus, the last letter. And then they quote from, did they put it in here? Micah, yeah, 5:2. But there's a lot of them. They should have put in Isaiah. They didn't. I put in Isaiah. At least it was for the first chapter. Yeah, Isaiah 7:14. So there's no need to put it in again. But nonetheless, man, eyes were dry this morning. And of course I was very, very sore. In the land of Utah, art thou not the least among the princes of Judah? Yeah. No Mormon recognizes my authority. No Mormon will run the test to find out who I am. I am not an apostle. I'm not even a 70. Not even a stake president. Not even a bishop. Not even an elders quorum president. Just a lowly Mormon. Just like you. Thief in the night. For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule Mormons. No! Burn the witch! Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently about the sign. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and said, Go and search diligently for the young child, and when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. Oh, Nelson, that's so sweet. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till they stood over where the young child was. And Joseph, let's see, no, it's actually the wise men. They were warned in a dream that they should not return to Herod. They departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. So yeah, I was right. Arise, take your child and his mother, flee into Egypt, and be thou there till I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. All these latter days, Nelson has sought to destroy me, ordering, being a dumbass by having a document trail and receipt money trail. If you're going to be evil, don't have any evidence. But same with Monson, which Nelson was a part of it. all 15 sign the checks, i.e. approve them to be signed. Nothing is paid in this church unless the corporate board all agreed to it unanimously. They all paid the Judas price to have me murdered. They give the orders. And they think that by having other people do it, that it distances them from accountability. I know better. Criminal investigation knows better. Real criminal investigation uses that same scientific process. And so, sure enough, with dreams, I had dreams. When they had conspired under Monson in 2008 to have me murdered, I had a dream. And it was Hinckley. It was not literal history. It was a dream. It was a vision. I am the seer. I am the head of the church. Section 107, verses 91 and 92. I ran the test. Oh crap, it's me. And in that Hinckley dream, he gave me the key card to his office. Transfer of authority. With the number 77 on the key card. In red. Just like I'm wearing today. In red. Transfer of authority. And I said, how? They're going to murder me. I'm here for life. Which should be short. And then there was also the number 88 for room number 88. The number 77 was his office number. Room number 77. Room number 88 had piles of papers on it. I fulfilled it. And so, knowing of Passover for the Exodus, that guy, the man like Moses, from the law of the Jews for the Jewish Christ, me, the man like Moses, and therefore 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem was 20 years apart from the final year. 2020 is the Exodus year. It all happened. I am the man like Moses. That July video told you my keys as the man like Moses. Section 107, verse 91. I am the head of the church, Mormons. That's why this church wants me dead. And so, yes, the cyber terrorism on Thursday and Friday was to prevent me from getting food, to murder me. We kind of need food to live. That was a crime that was committed against me, a pretty serious one, a terrorist one. This church is evil. They are the enemy. You can't ignore that. And so all these years, I'm warning, I'm teaching to Mormons specifically. And yes, ex-foes count too. You are Mormon. You just learned that the church was lying to you. But you didn't make the connection of lying to you and their lies about Joseph Smith. You believe the lies about Joseph Smith, but you believe that they are lying to you. If they're lying to you, you can't trust them for anything. Why do you believe certain lies and not others? You can't do that. If the church were righteous, there would be no need for me. If the United States were righteous, following the Constitution, giving all Americans life, liberty, and property, there would be no need for me. But because of their wickedness, the law of Purim says they will fall. Wickedness always sabotages itself to collapse and fall and fail. And here we go. America has fallen. What Trump is doing will destroy America. He is gutting the federal government. All of the agencies are being shut down. People are getting fired. Stopping all of the funding, all of the programs. Passing the transfer of authority to the states to run themselves as a divided states of America, to become independent kingdoms. Thus the church uses this to get their kingdom back. And knowing of this, they are involved in helping egg it on to get their kingdom back. April 2nd, with the tariffs. We had already seen it from the beginning when he started the tariffs. Stock market falls. And so here he goes, April 2nd. Stock market falls. He purposely delayed to April 2nd. Before conference. Again. In 2020. The events of 2020 are being repeated now. I already made the connection. I've already been telling you. But after 2020, I didn't know they were going to be repeated. I just wondered what the hell happened. None of the falls occurred. Fall of the government didn't happen. The final day of darkness happened. No fall of the government. No fall of the great and abominable church. What the hell? There have been some awesome stuff that I was involved in for you. Exposing this church. Exposing what's going on in the government. And yet, no fall. What the hell? What's going on? And then at the end of last year, after Nelson came out and said, Jesus is coming, you better watch out, you better not pout, you better not shout, I'm telling you why. Jesus Christ is coming to burn you and coup the federal government and take control of everything. He's gonna enslave you, yoke you to Jesus, all be bad for goodness sake. Yeah. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, being the enemy, wants to murder you. And that's how you treat me? Wanting to murder me, huh? That's where stupidity comes in. Why would you think that, Mormons? Why? So yeah, I already found Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. is the way to perfection. That they are going to coup the church. Thomas B. Marsh's affidavit. The Danites are going to coup the government. Destroy everything. Oaks got leaked last year. Even though this was from 2020. I would have liked to have known this in 2020. Why didn't anybody leak it to me in 2020? Why, after the second Tabernacles, Because both Passover and Tabernacles are 7 days. 7 and 7. Hey, 7 and 7. Transfer of authority. That's exactly what Passover and Tabernacles are all about. The solar eclipses with the lunar eclipses that were all on Passover and Tabernacles from 2014, 2015, with Perry Packer Scott dying. 7 and 7 for Passover and Tabernacles. But they're also 8 days because the Jews start the day before at 6 p.m. 8 and 8. 7, 7, 8, 8. Tabernacles was the dream that I had with Monson in 2016, where I was in a tent. I found Monson's boots in my tent. I went to Monson to try to say, do you want your boots back? He just walked on. The boots were mine. I am the guy. And I don't want to be the guy. Mormons don't believe in me. Mormons will never run the test. Mormons want to murder me. Mormons are being ordered to murder me. And then Nelson gets exposed saying, yeah, it's all a test run. 2020 is a test run for now. Now is it, according to Oaks. And so sure enough, that's why everything is being repeated from 2020. Not in the same order, obviously. But everything is being repeated. This is it. They are crashing the government so that the church can get their kingdom back. And yet, the church may be sabotaging itself to try to sneak in more money from insurance companies and from the federal government before it's destroyed. Because these Danites used the Bible to coordinate their attack. They know the same dates that I do. Because it's science. They know that Christians will never see it coming. And so, to destroy Christianity, they're using the scriptures that the Christians believe in against them. And William Morgan found out about it in the early 1820s, after the War of 1812. He came to Western New York, found the press in Batavia would fund his publication of a book to warn America with, could not do it in Batavia with his family, because this is about an enemy threat to the United States of America. These guys are murderers. If they found out he was working on the book, they would murder him and murder his family. He has to distance himself from his family. Sneeze? No? Sneeze? No? And so he went around to the York Rite lodges in the area, trying to see if anybody would allow him to work on the book. And they said no, until he found the master mason of the lodge in Canandaigua, Joseph Smith Sr. Joseph Smith Sr. already knew about the Knights Templar stuff, of Egyptian gold plates buried in southern Illinois for the coming of the Christ in America to establish New Jerusalem. X marks the spot, the location, the date, the signs in heaven. That is the Holy Grail. The coming of me. Joseph Smith Sr. was also a Jewish Kabbalist from Vermont with Nathaniel Woods. And Joseph Smith Sr. knew about the Woods grape, obviously. That Nathaniel Wood believed he knew of the date for the destroying angel in America, gathered the members. Thus, Joseph Smith was not a member, but he knew of the date. He knew of the prediction of the future, and he knew of the Woods grape. That the adjoining town were panicked. They didn't like this idea of this new religion talking about the end of the world and destruction and gathering together. So the militia were called out to disperse it. He then fled the state, went to another state and disappeared, and that was the end of him. Senior knows this. He knows about how to use the scriptures and identify the dates in them. Just like that Illuminati group, the enemy. And so they worked on the book together at the lodge in Canandaigua. Done all the videos for you. And the Book of Mormon is the result. Joseph Smith Jr. had nothing to do with the composition of the Book of Mormon. After 9/11, 1826, it was necessary for somebody else to take over. Somebody distanced, who has nothing involved in it, so that the enemy would not find him and destroy the document, prevent it from being published. And so there we go. That's why 2017 is in the beginning of the Book of Mormon. Had to be rewritten by Senior. And Senior set up his son to be Messiah ben Joseph. And so even though, he set up his son to be Messiah ben Joseph, but me, I am legitimate. And so thus, Senior is legitimate by calling his son to be Messiah ben Joseph. It's just right there on the verge. And so here we are, this Illuminati group, using the Bible to coordinate their attacks, because no Christian will see it, because it's science, giving dates to coordinate their attack with. Revelation 19 is the final date on 8 April 2024. They knew the first and the last years to coordinate their attack. And here shows they knew about 2020. To put Trump in 2017 and to run a test in 2020 for the final event 2024 to 2025. All patterning after 2020. The Danites of Brigham Young who likewise ran tests doing the same thing in 1838 to Joseph Smith. They knew who he was. They figured it out. And they joined to destroy Joseph Smith and thus fulfill the prophecies. And thus why me? Through this great and abominable church of the Illuminati with the keystone of Lucifer. They make it very blatantly obvious who they are, that they are the enemy. This is not the true Mormon Danite video, in case you were wondering if this is. No, it's not. I'm trying to cram in the information in this video pre-conference. It's 4 in the morning right now. Hopefully I'll get it up at least an hour or two before conference begins. Hopefully. Gotta go running. And so the date of the birth of Jesus, exclusive to Mormons, the 6th of April, thus not the 25th of December, is their use for this coordinated attack on America. And here we are, the 6th of April, 2025, when this is not a test run anymore. They intentionally intend to destroy things with fire and burning, saying it's Jesus, even referring to it as a nuclear holocaust. But it's Albert Pike who tells us their plot. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agenda of the Illuminati between the political Zionists, those who want Zion, not just Jews, and the leaders of the Islamic world. And so in that particular instance, yes. And so thus, October 7th, there it is. The Islamic world struck. They infiltrated Islam, got Islam to plan and prepare for October 7th. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism mutually destroy each other. Yeah, Israel's doing an awesome job. I told you the next day. Watch. You don't mess with Israel. And yet, Netanyahu showed mercy to them, to the people. If they are truly innocent, they were given more than enough time to get the hell out of the war zone. That they were going to target Hamas only. And the Islamic people said, no, we are the enemy, we support Hamas, we're going to murder you. And yet none of the press gets it right. So meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. Ta-da! Right now, we shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists. And we shall provoke the formidable social media cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity know Jesus, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, just like the poor Zoramites, kicked out for their poverty. And thus they are taught how to use science to learn the truth. anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, even though it's right there in the Bible, right there in the Book of Mormon, right there by Joseph Smith, and nobody sees it because nobody studies, nobody knows how to learn the truth from what they read, from the Word. Will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, which Mormons know exclusively what it is, and that they're supposed to shun it and avoid it. And yet, every conference, Mormons are told to obey Lucifer and his doctrine of taking away agency. Christofferson last night. Yep, take away your agency. Give it to Jesus. Covenant paths of the temple. The inverted pentagram on the keystone of the doors. Brought finally out in the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time, the day that shall burn as an oven, and the church rising from the ashes to restore Brigham Young's Luciferian religion and all of its horror. Got multiple witnesses for all of these, guys. Can't claim denialism. So here we go. We'll see if they accomplish their mission. It's not me, it's them. They plotted this. They are waiting to do this to you. Will they succeed? But my big question is, how is it going to transfer to me so I can save those who believe? I can build Zion, and I can retire finally.